Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Jonny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm. That means it's time for your first pint of HP sauce of the week.
Pint of HP sauce, eh? Come on, what you on about?
What are you on about? Well, you see, usually we turn to Northern Monk in the UK for utterly batshit ideas of drinks and collaborations. But this week, to much excitement, as a bit of a fan of HP sauce, Camden Town have gone all out in producing an HP brown ale in collaboration with the original HP sauce.
Wow.
Because usually, like, when breweries do this, generally it's a bit of a cop-out. Like, they might add a little bit of a flavouring that is in it and then just hope that the marketing kind of carries it. But, so I was pretty cynical when I saw this, but I looked at the articles that have been written about it, right? Check this out. So they've used date puree, which is a big ingredient in HP sauce. They've used mosaic hops, which I think is quite a clever hop to use. It's that kind of overly, almost fermented, acidic, overly ripe fruit. Then they've used several of the spices that are used in HP sauce. So I should say to anybody who doesn't know what HP sauce is, because we have lots of international listeners, it's basically like, I'm going to be shut down for this, but like the UK equivalent of barbecue sauce. It's like a very vinegary version of barbecue sauce, like sweet, spicy, fruity, but very
barbecue.
vinegary.
I don't know whether you call it I guess it does have a lot of the sort of same flavour components as a barbecue sauce, but what makes it different, Johnny? I'm not sure what makes it different. It's fruitier. It's got way more fruits in it, right?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's tomato based, and I think it's much more acidic.
Yeah,
is the main.
Yeah,
otherwise, and spicier. I guess not as in terms of chilies, but yeah, don't quote me on that. There might be tomatoes in there.
Does it have like? Oh fuck! I'm trying to think. I love HP sauce as well. Do you love HP sauce? Right? Is that what you just said?
When it comes to a bacon sandwich, it's the only sauce.
Do you know? No, that's bullshit. But do you know what I like to do, Johnny? Sometimes we've talked about sort of sauces on sandwiches and stuff before. I think years back I said I put both in, which is just a bit rogue. To be
ketchup
honest.
and HP.
Yeah.
They're doing the same role there. That's bonkers.
Well, it's just more fun in the party.
No.
It's like a sort of
tomato sauce will distract from the HP.
A saucy sex party of condiments.
No.
Now what I do? So I had a hankering for a bacon. I haven't eaten a bacon sandwich in ages, Johnny, like months. The other day I had a hankering for a bacon roll, so I bought a couple of rolls, and I had one bacon roll with bacon in it, an egg, seasoned and whatnot, obviously. And then my mouth is salivating thinking about it. And that had tomato sauce in it. And then I had the other roll with like extra butter in it and HP sauce. And there's something about the HP sauce that you sort of, when you eat the tomato sauce one, you're like, that's delicious. When you eat the first bite of the HP one, you're like, this is a flavour sensation. It's like,
I mean, it's just a bolder sauce, you know?
It's ping pong.
It's peppery.
It's mad.
There's loads going on. And
there's so much going on.
I just think tomato sauce, I love it. It's great. But when you've got quality bacon and good bread, the ketchup is just, it's like somebody singing really loudly over your favourite song. Whereas
it doesn't,
the HP sauce is more complex and a little bit more mellow.
Complex, more mellow. I find it very angular, but that might be something to do with the quantities of HP sauce I'm applying.
Yeah, could be. Anyway, back to the beer. So they added spices, and then, the phrase that's been used in the thing I'm looking at now says hybrid fermentation with a sour ale strain. So basically, they've either kettle soured it or used Philly or something. They've used lactobacillus. Or produce lactobacillus to make it sour. So they've made a sour brown ale with spices and date puree and mosaic hops. And you're just like, wow. For a brewery the size of Camden to do a beer like that, they must really believe in the power of HB as a brand.
Mate, that is pretty cool. I'm literally on Camden's website. They're not paying us to talk about this, by the way.
Nobody's paying. Well, no, Malt Miller are paying us.
You can buy a box set, Johnny. 4 beers. And so you get
4 beers and 4 tubs of HP sauce.
No, 4 beers and a special edition Camden Town HP sauce. So instead of having, has it normally got Big Ben on it? I can't remember what's on the HP. Something like that. Or is it the River? I can't remember. What is on the HP sauce?
I think you might be right. It's the Houses of Parliament sauce, isn't it?
That's it. That's why it's called HP. Yeah, it's Big Ben House of Parliament. House of Parliament sauce. You're right. That's what it is. So instead of having that, it's got a picture of the Camden Lock Bridge, which is nice. That's a nice touch, Johnny. I'm almost more excited about that. No, actually, I'm very excited about the beer. Your match would be a bacon sandwich with this, right?
With that beer,
yeah. I think I'd go sausage roll.
I think it'll scream too loud.
Sausage roll, mate. I reckon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I should be clear. It sounds rancid. As a beer. I just wanted to talk about it because they'd gone all out, and I appreciate that. If you're gonna be, what's the word I'm looking for? Clickbaity, I guess. Then you should back it up. And I'm gonna go out there and say that Northern Monk haven't always done that.
No. Yeah, this is pretty legit, isn't it? Date puree and black pepper. I'm not sure about black pepper in a beer. I feel like date purees could be quite good.
There was a phase where a lot of breweries were putting pepper in beer.
I'm not sure I like that phase, Johnny. I don't think I enjoyed it.
It was in the day, when craft beer was unchained and
yeah,
often undrinkable.
I feel like I remember going to Partisan 10.
Oh yeah,
10,
I bet
11,
they had a white pepper saison or something.
Yeah, 10, 11, 12 years ago, right when I first got interested in it, and I thought Partisan was the bee's knees. It was super cool. And yeah, drinking some stuff and being like, what the fuck even is this? It's mental.
Do you know? I think we even had a pepper saison or a pepper stout in our sausage roll video with the food busker.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah,
that's taking it all the way back. Yeah. Wow, that is wow. I wonder if he's ringing those boys up saying, "Can I do a collab with you? I'd like some of your HP brown ale, please." Does he even do stuff? He's a coffee guy now, isn't he? Yeah,
I think he launched a pretty cool looking coffee pod brand. I don't really know. I'm gonna have to look up John, the food busker.
Yeah.
So I mean that is our beer news for this week.
I love it.
That Camden.
Are we gonna get some, Johnny? Will we drink it? Maybe we could drink that when we meet up to film our Christmas video.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it does feel like it's. I mean, I don't think it's aimed at Christmas, but it certainly feels like maybe as a Christmas gift they've pitched this. I'm fairly certain it'll be terrible. Essentially, my main takeaway from this beer news is that I want a bacon sandwich. Yeah.
It's just making me think of my dad. My dad used to like HP sauce.
Right.
And my dad was a Mason, right? So, secret societies and that.
Yeah.
And we used to go to these Masonic nights. I remember when I was really young kid, and I was allowed to stay up really late. And they'd just be drinking port and whatever, just getting hammered, basically in suits.
And reorganizing the New World Order. Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure my dad was a locksmith from Brixton, so I'm pretty sure he wasn't reorganizing a New World Order. But it would get past midnight, and everyone would order. I say everyone, my dad and other people, his buddies, would order bacon sandwiches from the kitchen. And everyone would eat, because they'd be a bit drunk, they'd want to eat a bacon sandwich. But they'd sort of sit around.
It's gone midnight.
Sitting around in a 3-piece suit, Johnny, pissed, eating a bacon sandwich after midnight.
Yeah, it's a classic wedding move as well. I've been to a lot of weddings now where at like 10, 11 p.m. they bring out the bacon sandwiches.
It's good, isn't it? I think that's a real good. We should, if we do like another niche beer festival that goes
bring around
all
the bacon.
nighter, we do bacon sandwiches or bacon for the.
Yeah, I was going to say with a vegan option. Talking of being drunk at midnight, I could definitely count on one hand the number of hangovers I've had since my daughter was born. And I had probably, I'd say, the second worst of them on Sunday.
Oh wow! Okay, what'd you get up to?
My old school friends and I have what I thought was not a tradition, because I thought it happened every couple of months, but apparently it only happens once a year, which is we all go for a nice steak dinner and some beers.
Oof.
So I went to the Sutton Arms, which I haven't been to in ages, one of the best real ale pubs in London. We never really talk about it because it's in Clerkenwell and nobody really, I guess, goes to Clerkenwell anymore. I can't think of the last time I went to Clerkenwell.
I mean, if you work there, then you go there.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah.
I used to work around there, so I used to go all around Clerkenwell. It's great place to go out drinking.
Is it though?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But when was the last time you
work
went?
Crowd. Oh, like 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, I think
like
Clerkenwell's changed a bit since you were last there, buddy.
Nah, there's still definitely loads of good pubs. I'm sure of it.
No, don't think so. Like
if the Three Kings is still there, then I'm all right. I'll just go there. There's the ones around Exmouth Market, not including obviously.
They've all gone to hell.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't believe it.
Like
they used to be prime drinking spots.
Yeah, well, so they were all owned by the Graceland or Bar Works and had decent beer lists. And now that both those pub chains are sort of offloaded and gone mostly sort of to more residential areas, they're now owned by bar chains that don't really give a crap about beer. So I went into the Exmouth Arms maybe about a year ago, and the beer list basically didn't get better than Camden. It was Camden and worse.
Oh, wow.
But the Sutton Arms, which is like a 5-minute walk from there, has always been great. I didn't realise, I think the owner is cousins with the owner of the Old Fountain, which was something I learned. Might have been a Pellicle article. And so, yeah, they're not too far apart, like maybe a 15, 20-minute walk apart. And they're probably the only two pubs in that area I'd really drink. Oh, there's the Wenlock, of course. Those three pubs sort of keeping that area of town, keeping the cask alive, pretty much.
Did you say the Old Fountain? Sorry.
Oh,
you said the Old Fountain. What's the one that Marcus ran? What's that called? I can't remember.
The Wenlock.
The Wenlock. Did you say the
Wenlock?
Wenlock?
The other one I mentioned, yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry. I'm literally just scowling the internet at Three Kings Clerkenwell because I haven't been there in years, and it's just given me a massive nostalgia hit. But maybe it's not as good as it used to be.
I don't think it is. And I think Clerkenwell was kind of gutted by lockdown. A lot of people, when you work in those kind of media jobs, you don't necessarily have to go in anymore. So, I was chatting to the manager of the Sutton Arms, and he said he doesn't. So it was a Saturday. I was there. He said I close at 7 on a Saturday. It's just no customers after. He said his busiest nights are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Blimey.
So it's a different world in central London now. But I had some absolutely stunning Jarl.
Nice.
And then we went to the Quality Chop House, which is one of my favourite restaurants in London. I had myself a quality chop and some quality wine. And also a thing called actually, I'm going to try this out on you. If you saw the words game tea on a menu, what would you think it would be?
Game Tea. I would say it's okay. But it's obviously not going to be made from game. That would be too weird. I would say it's an alcoholic tea or a shot. So like a shot of whiskey or something. Because when you're out hunting game in all the elements, you got to stay warm.
Right. That's a nice thought. But no, it was literally tea made from game. So they came with a teapot and 4 old school china cups, and they poured us what essentially was the most delicious cup of Bovril I've ever tasted.
So it's like a consomme. It's like a sort of rendered down some sort of gravy sort of vibes, is it?
I guess, yeah. Like it was quite a thin textured but very very flavorful stock.
Like a faux or something like that.
Yeah, kind of faux like, but in a china teacup.
I don't really like faux, Johnny. I remember when we worked at JO, Barnaby went and he loved
the
faux.
Jamie Oliver team loved faux.
He fucking loved faux, that guy. And he was like, I'm buying you a faux. And he came back with a faux one day and made me eat it, and I really didn't enjoy it.
I don't think the closest thing to soup you've ever got, I think, is goulash. You're not a soup guy.
Yeah. Not really a soup guy. No, not really a soup guy. Would you call a pho a soup? Is it a soup then?
Yeah,
essentially.
It's a noodle soup.
Is it? What point does it transition from being noodle based to soup to a soup with noodles in?
Well, I mean, pho is
when there's more.
Pho is mostly
thin.
Liquid.
It's too thin and it's salty and weird.
I mean, I'm more of a tonkotsu ramen guy. I like a bit more body to my soups. Anyway, Bradley, this started with beer and it's gone off in all kinds of directions. Anyway, all I want to say is that jar was tasting amazing. If you're ever in Clerkenwell, you should drink at the Sutton Arms. And I had late night after dinner. I don't even know what pub we ended up in, but I think it was just off of Exmouth Market. Terrible beer selection, but they did have Jupa from 5 Points on. Which is supposed to be their juicy pale. And, I love 5 Points, but I've never enjoyed Jupa. I'd never expect sort of juicy, modern kind of hop character from them. It's always been like the West Coast piney kind of end. But it was tasting, and maybe it was the bottle of wine and 3 jars talking and the game tea, but it was tasting phenomenal. Like,
great.
Like revelatory session juicy beer good.
Amazing. And you managed to make it home all right, or did you stay in London, or what? What's the crack?
Oh yeah. My trains are pretty reliable. They're either there or they're not, and they were there that night. So I made it home, and then I got woken at silly hours, like all parents of young kids do, and then I fell asleep on the sofa. And when I woke up, a lot of painting was happening.
Oh,
which is always a dangerous game.
By your child or by a workman? Maybe snuck in.
Yeah, just come in, paint my land. I did. I painted our spare room actually last weekend before I went into London. Couldn't do that with a hangover.
What colour are we talking, Johnny? Well, I guess I'll see it next time.
It's tricky. I'd call it a dusty pink.
Nice, yeah, tasteful, yeah.
Like a really beautiful sunset pink. Dusky or dusty? I don't quite know which. Both seem appropriate.
Dusty. My I've got some walls in my living room painted a dusty pink,
right?
Powdery dusty pink.
Yeah,
goes well with green, Johnny. If you've got lots of plants, it looks real nice.
Yeah, well that's the thing is there's going to be plants. We've already got some lovely suede green cushions on the spare bed.
Oh yeah. Nice.
That
nice,
work really
combo.
nicely. Yeah.
Suede? Do you mean suede or do you mean?
Well,
velvet?
I mean they look like suede.
How many animals died to make your suede scatter cushions?
I'm 100% sure it's
Zero.
all plastic. Yeah.
Okay. It sounds great. Sounds luxurious.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
As luxurious as a room full of IKEA furniture can get. Actually, a little link there. In my spare room is a desk, which was built by my friend Robin, who is now the man building the Craft Beer Channel app, which we haven't updated people on for a long time because we had to drop the project while we had a birthday and I did book stuff. But we picked it up literally yesterday. We had a meeting in which we picked it up again, and things are going to start moving quickly again. So there will be an app early next year.
Early-ish next year.
Early-ish next year.
I'm doing air quotes here, or asterisks, just pinging up on the virtual screen. Early-ish.
Early-ish.
We don't want to. We want to put something out that we're happy with, and we think is useful. So there's no point rushing anything out. And we want to make it beautiful as well.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. I think we might have shared some branding in the Patreon forum already. I can't quite remember. I think we did. But yeah, so that is still happening. Quick book update. I'm no longer in negative. I've finished 3 chapters of 11. So
that's good.
It's getting there. And I finished the brutal chapter, which is the impact of beer on medicine and technology, which involved. I spent most of this week reading scientific articles from the mid 1800s, mostly translated from French.
Wow.
Which, I don't have dyslexia, but I'd imagine that's what dyslexia feels like.
Sounds like a hoot. Yeah,
it
welcome
was
to my
so
world.
hard to read.
Yeah. So it's like broken English, basically. The translations were
very broken English. Lots of words that just people don't use anymore. Like not quite Shakespearean in its density, but pretty close. And then just some sentences that just weren't really translated very well.
Yeah.
So you had to I then end up going down sort of Wikipedia holes to work out whether the science they're trying to say to me is correct. But I mean, the ultimate thing is that beer created vaccines. So enjoy that chapter. Should we talk about this week's video?
I guess we better, seeing as we're a beer podcast, eh?
A beer and YouTube podcast, yeah.
I'm still looking at HP sources, mate. I'm just online. In Australia, they've got a HP Fruity.
Ooh.
Which I don't think I've seen. It's green. It's got a green label on it. It says it's a high quality blend of Mediterranean fruits, spices, and vinegar.
Okay,
but
so
aren't dates
it's adapted for the climate of hot parts of Australia.
Yeah, maybe it is.
It's like a New England IPA to the west coast of old
New
HP.
World sauce. I like it. Cool. Anyway, sorry, beer video, Johnny. Beer
video. So this week was a sponsored video with the Brewers Association, specifically the Brewers Association's export arm. So whenever we work with them, they're looking to tell the stories of why countries other than America should be drinking American beer, which is an increasingly tough topic, I think. Initially, the export program must have loved it because they could export to all these countries that didn't have its own exciting craft scene. And now, obviously, pretty much most nations in the air quotes Western world certainly do. So we came up with this concept together of, every year the Brewers Association come over and they do a huge, amazing bar at London Craft Beer Festival, and they tend to bring a bunch of brewers over for that, who then do collaborations around London. And we said, well, why don't we make sure that everybody that does a collaboration brews like a homegrown American beer style? And we can champion all the amazing styles that have come out of the US, but also the impact that those styles have had around the world. And obviously we know the impact of IPA, we know the impact of hoppy beer. But, I think the main story that sort of came out of this week's video was Anchor Steam. There's a huge loss and also a huge gap in the market for people that love nostalgic beer styles. And I think in the video, so the guy from Virginia Beer Co. said that they were seeing a big uptick in interest in, sort of retro beer styles. And I think the guy from DC Brow also said off camera that, they were seeing real interest in the sort of beers that were in American brew pubs back in the day, like American Browns, American Wheats, all this kind of stuff that was pintable because it was mostly based off of European beer recipes where they were slightly more reasonable ABVs and less kind of palate smashing. And that's the story we wanted to tell as we ran around East London following these brews and talking about the history of it.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thought, isn't it? That obviously we all know fashion is cyclical. There's generally like a sort of 30-year fashion cycle, right? So like now, the 90s is super fashionable. 10 years ago, potentially, it doesn't always work, but 10 years ago, maybe the 80s, 20 years ago, the 70s, 30 years ago, the 60s, etc. So there's like, you reach a point in fashion and culture where people have a fondness for something that's gone before or whatever. A lot of times it's younger people that weren't living in that time, but we can't necessarily say that about beer styles that were in tap rooms and whatnot 10 years ago. This has got to be a resurgent thing for the people that were drinking it back then, right? So they're nostalgic about being young, having a full head of hair, maybe like they've got a under a 40-inch waist, and not grey, they're not grey or whatever it might be. They're kind of like reminiscing.
Well, I think there's definitely that. There's 100% that. But I would also say there's two other factors. One is just this recognition that we cannot drink the level of ABVs and the volume that we do. And I think that the first 10, 15 years of, or not the first, the last 10, 15 years where ABVs have shot up, where hopping rates have shot up, basically a lot of people have been abusing alcohol. And I think that, there's not some great big reckoning in that regard, but it's a, I've certainly felt it. And a lot of the beer that's in my fridge now that I'm getting through is very different to what I was drinking 5 years ago, just out of respect for my body. So I think people have looked for lower ABV stuff, and you can get great New England pales, and I think it's a major reason why lager's also coming back in vogue, but also these styles that are great in a pint. So, I think cream ale, it's a terrible name for the beer, and that's probably going to hold it back, but I think as a beer style itself, it's quite an exciting prospect, and I'd say the same for steam beer. Inevitably, if it does take off, it will be hoppier. It will be probably a little bit sweeter. It probably won't have a lot of crystal malt in. It will have other ways of getting that flavour. But I feel like, it's never going to be big, but certainly in that little bubble that we mostly operate in, these styles are sort of coming around. And the other thing to say is that we think of craft as like this big revolution in beer. It's just another revolution, like in the post-war period in the UK, it was bitters that took over from milds. At the end of the 19th century, it was milds that took over from porters. It's just another drop, just another stage of progression, and probably will leave behind a lot of the styles that we loved from this period. It's kind of heartening that we're bringing some of them back, but just this idea that New England IPA is forever, or West Coast IPA was forever, is ahistorical. We know that beer's going to keep moving, and it's going to be buffeted by all these other winds, such as the low alcohol. I was about to say lobby. That's not fair. There is a low alcohol lobby, but the push towards lower alcohol beers and less drinking, because we're aware of what alcohol can do to our bodies and stuff like that, is going to keep on changing it. And if that means we drink steam beer, I'm quite up for it.
Yeah, definitely. I was just thinking about like post World War II beer bros maybe. I wonder whether they had like hipster people that were super into their milds or whatever. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Think about being into something like that.
Well, I think it was more of a working class revolution.
Yeah, right.
It would have been pub goers who then, it was the people that became camera.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it definitely was. I think there would have been people walking around with notebooks and making notes of their favourite beers, but I wouldn't say that those people were they wouldn't have been accused of being hipsters. They'd have probably been accused of being a bit working class because they weren't interested in fancy wine and this kind of stuff. It would have been a bit more hipsters are kind of derided, but it would have been more of a class thing than a fashion based form of identifying beer drinkers.
And I think we kind of under appreciate how central in a lot of people's life the pub was back then. It was really a community heart of a community, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there
the
were
corner pub, so
it
like
was
just
where you met your friends after work at
Yeah.
weekends, and that's still very true today, but only for, I think,
Yeah.
for a smaller band of age.
Yeah, and so
there comes a point where you do it less.
Well, that was where I was going. It was like that was my life, Johnny, until all my friends had kids and moved out of London. Like I used to meet every Friday, all my friends go for beers, great pubs, and then it all just falls by the wayside after a certain age, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, because they say that I think it's 1 in 7 under 25s are teetotal. Like, where are they meeting?
In electric dreams. Yeah. I don't know. They're not meeting, I don't think. Isn't that the problem?
Oh, of course they are. What do you mean they're not meeting?
You've heard about? I don't really. I hate the fucking Tories and everything. So, but I saw a news headline that Charles he's gonna bring in like a ban on smoking, right? So, the age of smoking is going to go up every year. So there's going to be a cut-off point where if you were born after a certain age, blah blah blah. That's great because smoking is obviously going to kill you. I'm slightly concerned that they might start policing alcohol.
Oh, 100% they will. That is a creep towards, already there's powerful people calling for alcohol advertising to be banned, and already has. You don't see it on the shirts of football teams or anything. And plain packaging is something that's genuinely being discussed.
Really? Like in a similar way to like how we have the cigarette packets.
Yeah, absolutely. Having it in cupboards so that you can't see the brands. And, if they're refrigerated cupboards, maybe it's a positive step. But this stuff is all being, discussed at a high level and being listened to by politicians. Smoking is an incredibly dangerous habit. So is drinking in large quantities. And so while on one level I'd be like, you know what, maybe it's best if smoking is banned. The lives you'd save, the money that hospitals would be saved. But equally, even me as quite a socialist thinking kind of person, it's like that feels like too much control. People should be able to choose what they want to do with their bodies to a very real extent. And it comes from the same place of like, of prohibition in telling women what they can do with their bodies when it comes to abortion and stuff. The idea of the state telling you what you can do with your body is a deeply uncomfortable prospect.
Not good at all.
Yeah. I read actually an interesting article this morning about the WHO, the World Health Organization, who I wouldn't say are a perfect organization, but certainly maybe have their perfectly healthy hearts in the right place, have said that loneliness is such a dangerous condition that it's the equivalent of 15 cigarettes a day. And I deeply dislike that comparison for so many reasons. But
it's a bit dangerous, yeah.
But the point is there that our mental health, of which loneliness is both a symptom and a cause of all kinds of conditions, is as dangerous to our physical health as many things that we genuinely care about and massive lobbies are trying to create plain packaging for. And I thought it was really interesting that studies have been done that mean we can start to quantify the damage of loneliness. And the reason I bring that up is because I tell you where people go if maybe they're a widow or widower and they need to meet people. They go down the pub, and they might drink some alcohol. So then you have to say to these people that are trying to get plain packaging for alcohol and stuff like that, or not celebrating, but certainly not upset by the idea of pubs closing. You're going, well, where, how do we weigh up the death caused by loneliness against the death caused by cigarettes against the death caused by alcohol? And probably the answer is not to ban two of those things, which would potentially make another one worse. It's health policy has to take all these things into account. Health policy, good Lord, Brad. Considering we started by asking what the ingredients of HP sauce are, we've come a long way.
You've been to that? What is it called? Strangers Bar or whatever in the Houses of Parliament.
In the Houses of Commons. Yeah, I was writing about that, but this morning. for the
Oh,
book.
wait. Did you clock any HP sauce when you were in there?
No, so that would have been in the restaurant. I think there was a Stranger's
Right.
restaurant, but I only went to the Stranger's bar, and I think it's called the Pavilion Terrace, the one that you can see from Westminster Bridge.
I think they should just sell Daddy's sauce. Do you remember that? They still make they do
must
still
do.
make Daddy's sauce.
Yeah.
But that was quite good. It was like a Pepsi to a Coke sort of vibe. In that was a rival prune and whatever based
date and spice.
Date and spice. Yeah, not prune. Pretty good. I liked Daddy's sauce as well, but it was even more vinegary, and I'm a big fan of vinegar. So that was like a vinegary. My mouth is watering again. It was like a more vinegary version of HP sauce. But when you turn the bottle upside down, it had like one of those happy sad faces where it was like the eyebrows were like the lips or something. So you could turn it round, it'd be another face. Always remember that. That was pretty good. But yeah.
Is this going anywhere?
Not really. Only just I was trying to make a link back to politics. HP sauce.
Well, I think we need to
link it all back together.
Link back to the video.
Getting on the sauce.
Which we left behind and went down didn't we? Health policy.
We left a while ago. Sorry about that.
Did we? Did you find any comments that amused or excited you?
Well, someone said, great video like the old ones. As if like the new ones aren't great. I can't wait to see the second one. Great video like the old ones. So like, I was like thinking about this. I was like, why did they think it's like the old ones? And I think it might be because I was a bit sloshed at the end. Maybe that's what it meant.
You think it was when we used to go to beer festivals and not necessarily be in the greatest condition by the end?
Yeah, when we used to go to beer festivals and leave our cameras randomly places and get on it. Yeah. I don't know. That's what I thought. So JR, I don't know if that's what you meant, but yeah, I did get a little bit worse for wear.
Yeah, I think also, we haven't done a lot of you and me adventuring and drinking of late, and not so much
right
travel
now.
stuff as well. So we've got very serious in our old age, I guess. Is
well, I wouldn't say
I
wouldn't say I've got serious, but I think we take it more seriously. But I think there's still obviously a lot of potential to travel and to for having hijinks and enjoying the lifestyle of drinking great beer with friends and all that entails in interesting places. So yeah, it is nice to get out and about and certainly that was an action-packed shoot from start to finish.
It was an intense couple of days. My comments: Elliot Smith 3473. It's a lot of Elliot Smiths on YouTube. I love this comment. Brad needs to make up his mind. White trousers and a camo t-shirt. Is he trying to be seen or not? You just want your legs to be seen, I guess. Some weird floating pair of legs.
Yeah, I don't know. I had this period in the summer of just wearing white jeans. I always wanted to wear white jeans as a younger man. Or
what stopped you as a younger man?
Don't know. I just thought they were I don't know about too flamboyant.
Right. And now you're leaning into the flamboyancy.
I don't know. I've always been quite flamboyant.
Yeah.
I just thought white jeans were a bit too twatish or a bit chavvy. I don't know. But I've come around to white jeans in that they can look kind of more classic in a kind of Americana vibe.
Right.
Not an Essex dancing around your handbag vibe. Which I don't know whether people still do that, but yeah.
Unless we found
jeans...
a solution for the great issue of where you put your bag where you're dancing, I presume people still are dancing around their bags.
Well, the great solution, Johnny, is a strap.
A bum
Just
bag.
have a strap on it. Bum bag, that's a great solution. I've got a lot of bum bags.
Well, but come on, if you're committing to the dance, you can't be wearing a bag that's going to jump around on you.
We're talking clutch bags here, really.
Yeah, but they're going to flap even more if they're light. If you could probably
True.
dance in a backpack if you tighten the straps. If you've got yourself a little clutch with a nice, a nice thin golden strap on it, that's going to be hitting people in the face if you're going for it.
Yeah, probably. Well, we've come to a point in time where we have straps for bags, so there's a possibility there to have a strap. But I appreciate what you're saying. about it bouncing around. Bum bag is probably the ultimate going out. If you're going to get drunk, maybe wear a bum bag, because it's quite hard to get one of those fuckers off unless you've got to have some good dexterity to click one of those child-safe plastic connector things. You know,
I mean, American footballers wear it on the field, so clearly it's a reliable. Oh yeah.
Wait. What's in an American chapstick?
Do you know what?
What's in there?
Just imagine an NFL player trying to do chapstick through their helmet.
Yeah.
Do you know? I'm not entirely sure. It's usually the quarterbacks. Could be notes.
Boiled
could
sweets.
be. I don't know, like chalk to keep their hands dry for grip.
Chalky.
Like climbers do.
Bum bags.
I don't quite know.
Fanny packs.
Fanny packs, they'd be calling them. Yeah.
So what are they? What do they look like? Are they in the team colours? Are they very much? Sort of
now
disguise?
you're asking. I can't really.
Presumably
remember.
they're not rocking like a fluorescent yellow like.
It's not a fashion fanny pack.
One from the 90s. No,
they're not going retro. They're going very functional. I think usually it's just black.
I think you can express a lot of personality through a bum bag, Johnny. Bum bag is like a cravat or something. It's a very flamboyant.
I love
accessory.
that you've thought about that.
Yeah, it's a very. I've got a collection, and so has my girlfriend Kirsty, of bum bags. I've bought her like nice bum bags for occasions and stuff. I bought. What did I buy? Like a Balmain one, or no, not Balmain. I found a really good one, a Longchamp, not bridal leather, like real fine Italian leather.
That's like airport
bum bag.
Airport level fashion.
I found it in a Chazza though, mate, a charity shop. But it's so nice. It's like a really nice bum bag. But it's obviously made for a smaller fashion person than I am. Because I tried to put it on, it wouldn't fit around my waist. It's too small, Johnny. Too small.
Well, you wear it around your shoulders anyway, don't you?
Well, like, I'm broad-shouldered, so it wouldn't even that was like
it's like
really
stuck up in
impossible.
Your armpit.
I couldn't work it out. I was like, is this a Japanese market bum bag? Because it was small. It was like properly small. I don't know if you've ever bought any. Well, you would have done, yeah. Muji and Uniqlo. Like they do size Western over here, but their sizes.
I don't think I've ever bought an item of clothing from either of those places.
Really?
I'm not even sure I know what Muji is.
Muji's great, man. I don't really buy a lot in Muji anymore, but like they used to sell nice furniture. It's like Japanese IKEA.
Yeah, that's what I had in my head. Yeah, I thought it was more. Does it do clothes?
Yeah,
I think my wife's bought candles from them.
You could. Well, I tell you what, mate. If you want to elevate it to a more futuristic Japanese version, you can buy something that looks like a candle, but it's like an atomizer, and you just put your essential oils in it.
Oh wait, maybe that's what she bought. I'm not quite sure.
It bangs out. They're really famous for their atomizers. Like before, you could just buy atomizers on Amazon.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm thinking.
You'd go in there, like they'd have them in the window displays or like in the doorway walking in, and you'd be like, "Fucking hell, that smells amazing! What's that? I need to go and look at that." It's puffing mythical smoke that I touch and it disappears, but it smells wonderful. It's a magical place, Johnny. They very famously they had a CD player that was just about the size of a CD, and you put it on the wall. It had a speaker built in around the edge, and you'd pull the cord on it. I think you pull the cord on it to turn it on and off. It's a design classic. They're now worth a fortune. No cover on the CD, Johnny. It's a vertical thing. You just click the CD onto it.
You're gonna get a
and
dusty
it starts
laser,
spinning, man.
Well, it would in my house.
Probably. I always coveted one, but I ultimately when it came out, I was like, well, I got a mini disc player, so
I'm set for life.
Yeah, I'm set for life now, bro. I've got a mini disc, mate. What do I need one of those for? Yeah. So. That was a great shop. How did I get there? Japanese.
Brad, as ever, I never know how you got there.
Jesus Christ.
Do you know, trousers. We started with white trousers, and now we're
bags.
Bum bags.
Small size bum bags, Longchamp bum bags. That was it.
Anyway, I had another comment.
Go on.
From Skjaldulfur.
Oh yeah,
Skjaldulfur.
Good name.
Skjaldulfur. Yeah, I think I got it. When I think of American beer styles, I think of corn syrup, corn juice, and all other manner of inappropriate ingredients. And then he's put a hyphen and put Wisconsinite. So I'm assuming that's not an inappropriate ingredient. I think he's saying he's from Wisconsin.
Is Wisconsinite like kryptonite for people from Wisconsin?
I'd imagine Wisconsinite is just a fancy word for cheese.
Yeah, they're cheeseheads, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're cheeseheads.
But there shouldn't be much cheese in beer. But anyway, I just replied that I hope this video would change his mind, because I think that's, we reference the cliche of all American beer being overly hopped IPA. Obviously the wider cliche is the idea that it's all corn syrup light lager. But that's why I wanted to make this video and why we picked this topic, is because I wanted to say, as ever, there are loads of different styles a little way beneath the surface that we could be championing and talking about. And some of them, like fruit sours and IPAs and American pales, obviously get talked about a lot. But it was wonderful to be able to give 5-6 minutes of the craft beer channel over to a brewery making a steam beer or making a cream ale. Obviously it's our choice. We don't do that generally, but you need to find like the way in that'll make it interesting to people. And I don't know, I think when we start homebrewing again, I might want to do a steam beer, because the not to be a spoiler, so we taste the beers next week, but the steam beer was probably my favourite from Hackney Church. And I've still got some cans of it, and I'm still drinking it. I think it's really good.
Great. Yeah, it was super nice. They were all really good. I mean, we'll see that in part 2 next week.
Yeah. I mean, they were all great beers, which was a bit of a relief. But yeah, I really thought the steam beer was very good. Maybe just a shade too crystally. 10% too crystally would be my only critique.
I do love the BA and their sort of willingness to extend hands across the ocean. They go all around the world, don't they, doing this sort of stuff. Where they were in Japan, weren't they, the other week, doing stuff. And they're just spreading the good word of American beer. I love that.
It's an okay job to have.
It's not bad.
Yeah. And it was great to be part of it. Put together 2 great videos, and hopefully there's more that we can do together in the future. But that's all we've got time for. Just some quick announcements. One is, we last week announced that there was going to be a Craft Beer Channel Pills and Pastry Party on the 7th of December. That now looks like it might be the 14th of December.
Yeah.
Due to some miscommunication. So humble apologies. Keep the 14th free, and hopefully that is when it's going to be happening. We'll be confirming everything as soon as we possibly can. The other thing to say is there will be a Christmas live show. It might be that following Saturday, so the 17th. Still trying to figure stuff out. But there will be a Christmas box, whether you can join the live show or not. And that will be going on sale, I hope, by the end of... wait, what day are we on? Oh, God. Might not be this week. I'm getting confused. Early next week.
Yes.
That will go on sale, featuring some of the beers that will be in our annual Christmas video, as well as beers that you can drink on the Christmas live show. So hang tight. Announcements are in the works. I should also say that today Brad sent me close to the final designs of a Christmas card.
Oh,
which will be going out to all our Patreons, along with the gifts that you get as a Patreon. And the Christmas card looks great.
It's fun, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, so watch out for that. We'll be posting those as soon as we possibly can. So yeah, lots of announcements incoming. I've got a book deadline at the end of November, so either things will start to move again on the Craft Beer Channel after that, or you'll note that I'm melting down as a human and still writing the book in 2 weeks' time.
Oh,
so
man.
We'll see.
Well, hopefully not. I think that we are going to have a great Crimbo, Johnny. It's going to be a wonderful end to maybe a not spectacular year, but maybe a slightly better year than last year. No, it's not, is it? Fucking hell. Now we've got 2 wars going on. This has not been a good year, Johnny.
Yeah. It'd be a terrible time to introduce plain packaging on alcohol, that's for sure.
But oh god, but we are going to be having a lot of beers in our beer box potentially, because the price of cardboard's gone way up. So yeah, that's something to look forward to.
It's a strange link. We might expand on that one day. But yes, so watch out for those announcements. Otherwise, we have the second episode of our BA adventure coming at you next Wednesday, and of course another pod, so that you can ease into your weekend with some utterly unedited, entirely unplanned, utterly ridiculous nonsense. Until then,
Love and beer.
The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.